You know, I cannot tell my fellow Athenians how you feel after hearing the speeches of my accusers. But I know their persuasive words almost made me forget who I was. Persuasive? But none of it's true, not a word. The most amazing of these lies was the warning not to let yourself be deceived by the force of my eloquence. It's shameful because you'll see that as soon as I open my mouth, I'll reveal my deficiencies in this area, unless they meant eloquence equaling truth. If that's the case, then yes, I'm absolutely eloquent. And I must ask a favor. Don't be surprised if you hear me using the same words here in my defense that you may have heard me say in the marketplace or anywhere else. Don't be surprised, and don't interrupt. I've lived a long time, and this is the first time that I've ever appeared in court. I'm a stranger to how things work, so let me address you in my own way.
He doesn't know what he's doing.
Look at him. He looks like a homeless person.
Let's start with the accusation that's led to all this slander. What does Meletus and the rest of my prosecutors actually have to say?
Socrates is an evildoer and a curious person who searches into things under the earth and in heaven, and he makes the worse appear the better the cause, and he teaches the aforesaid doctrines to others.
Well, you know, the nature of the accusations may be familiar to some of you, as they were depicted in the comedy by Aristophanes, in which he introduced a man he also called Socrates. Goes about telling people he can fly and speaking other nonsense concerning matters of which I do not pretend to know a thing. Now, I must say that I don't mean to disparage any student of natural philosophy. Meletus and his friends, well, they cannot accuse me of that.
Why is this, Socrates? And what is the origin of these accusations of you? For there must have been something strange which you have been doing. All this great fame and talk of you would have never arisen had you been like other men. So tell us why this is, as we should be sorry to judge hastily of you.
It's a good question. It's a fair challenge. I'll try to explain the origin of this evil fame that I've found. Some of you won't take me seriously. You'll think I'm joking, but it isn't meant to be funny. It's the truth. I have a reputation of being a wise man.
What kind of wisdom do you claim to possess?
The kind of wisdom attainable by mortal men. To that extent, yes, I believe I'm wise. I don't claim to have any superhuman wisdom and never have. Anyone who claims otherwise is just adding more lies to the pile. And please, do not interrupt me again, even if you hear something extravagant. What I'm about to say does not come from me. I didn't make this up. An admirable witness can tell you about my would-be wisdom. That witness is the god of Delphi. Kypharon, an old friend and a good Athenian, he was a bit impetuous. He went to Delphi and he boldly asked the oracle to tell him...
Please, Socrates.
Sir, don't interrupt me. Kypharon asked the oracle to tell him whether there was anyone wiser than I was. The prophetess answered that no man was wiser. Those of you that know Kypharon, you know that this is true.
Congratulations, Socrates. Wise old Socrates. What does this blessing from the oracle have to do with why we're here?
Well, it's relevant because it has to do with why I've developed such an ill will and violent animosity. See, when I first heard what the oracle said, I was confused. What could it mean? Is it a riddle? Because I know I'm not wise. Not in the least. Why would the oracle say that I was the wisest man? Well, the oracle's never lied, so it must be true. Eventually, I realized that if I could find a man wiser than myself, I could refute the oracle and gain understanding. Thus began my search. I went to a man with a reputation to be wise, and I observed him. His name, well, I don't need to say, but he was a politician. Well, the result is, after hearing him speak for a while, was that I discovered he was not really wise at all. Now here, he was thought wiser by many and thought wiser even still by himself. So I went to him and explained to him his lapse in wisdom. And the result was that he hated me. And so did all of his friends. He left, and I just thought to myself, neither of us know anything really beautiful and good. But I'm better off than he is, because he knows nothing and thinks he knows, and I neither know nor pretend to know. Because of that, I do have a slight advantage over him. Then I went to another supposed wise man, and my conclusion was the same. And the result was the same. He ended up hating me too, as have many others.
The arrogance of this guy, no wonder everyone hates him.
Not everyone.
In this pursuit, I've gone from one man to another, knowing the hatred which I provoked. Of course, it discouraged me, and it scared me, but I needed to find the meaning of the oracle's words. So the result of my mission was this. In short, men of high reputation tend to be the most foolish, and simpler, supposedly inferior men are really the better and the wiser. I've ultimately found the oracle to be irrefutable. See, after the politicians, I went to the poets, writers of all sorts. Now, with them, I thought my ignorance would be proven. Hoping to learn something, I asked them the meaning of some of their finest works, their own works. Anyone in this room could have explained it better than they did. That instantly showed me that it doesn't take wisdom to write, but inspiration and creativity. Poets say imaginative things without necessarily knowing their meaning. Now, I also discovered that many writers felt that they knew as much about the rest of the world as they did about writing. Again, this folly of theirs made me feel superior to them as well. Next, I went to the artisans. Now, theirs is a world in which I know absolutely nothing, and they know many fine things. They definitely do. But they made the same mistake as the politicians and the poet. They believed their superiority at a skill made them superior in all things. See, it's better to live as I do, without their knowledge and without their ignorance. Or is it better to be like them?
He's even sticking it to the working man.
This investigation of mine made me many enemies, as well as some followers who feel I have the wisdom that I can't find in others. See, but the truth of the oracle is that only God is wise. He isn't naming me as the wisest man in the world, but he's using me as an illustration that the wisdom of all men is worthless. A truly wise man admits that. So, in obedience to the oracle, if someone claims to be wiser than most, in vindication of the oracle, I endeavor to prove them wrong. This occupation absorbs me completely. I think of nothing else. It is a daily devotion. I have made many enemies, but they will not be my destruction. No, what destroys is envy and detraction of the world, just as it's destroyed many a good man before me, and it will more to come. See, I won't be the last.
Socrates, aren't you ashamed to live a life that cultivates this animosity and will bring you to an untimely end?
No. A man worth anything doesn't consider living and dying, but rather whether he's doing right or wrong, good or bad. A soldier in the hour of danger does not consider death, but disgrace. See, when I served in the war and my commanders told me to hold the line facing a violent death, I didn't move. None of us did.
I didn't know he was a soldier.
So now God orders me to fulfill the philosopher's mission of searching within myself and my fellow men. It's the same thing. I cannot desert my post. I will never avoid a possible good rather than a certain evil. See, actually, it's this fear of death that is the pretense of wisdom. No one knows the nature of death. No one knows what comes next. It's thought to be dark and painful. Huh. But it could be beautiful.
Socrates, you must end this. Stop this infuriating quest of yours. The people of Athens are tired of your endless harassment.
Athenians, I honor you and I love you, but I must obey God rather than you. And while I have the life and strength, I'll never stop the practice and teaching of philosophy. And I will continue to ask all of you, citizen or stranger, why do you care so much about wealth and reputation and so little about wisdom and truth and the improvement of your soul? Aren't you ashamed? All I ask is that you not consider your person and your property, but focus on the improvement of your soul. Virtue doesn't come from money, but from virtue comes every good of man, private and public.
Whatever.
Shut up.
That is my teaching. And if this doctrine corrupts the youth, well, I hope my influence is absolutely ruinous. I'll never alter my ways. Consider yourselves. You know, if you do kill me, you won't find another like me. If I may use a ludicrous metaphor, I'm a sort of gadfly given to the state by God. See, the state is a great and noble steed, but its sheer side has made it lethargic and slow. It must be stirred to life, and so I attach myself, arousing, persuading, and reproaching you. You won't find another like me, so I advise you to spare me.
Tell us, Socrates, why do people delight in you so?
People enjoy hearing the cross-examination of the pretenders to wisdom. It can be amusing to some. See, but it's my duty. If I have corrupted the youth, then let them, past and present, let them come forth now and say what evils have been suffered at my hands.
Socrates, we will allow you to move away from Athens if you would agree to end your disruptive behavior.
I cannot hold my tongue. The greatest good a man can do is to converse daily about virtue. That's what I must do. The unexamined life is not worth living.
Socrates, since you outright refuse to alter your disruptive behavior or move into exile, is the judgment of Athens that you be put to death.
Well, I said what I had to say. And I'd rather die having spoken my way than live by telling you what you wanted to hear. There are ways that you can avoid death if you're willing to do or say anything. See, the hard part isn't avoiding death, but avoiding unrighteousness, because that runs faster than death. And it's overtaken me. If you think killing men is the way to escape the accuser censuring your lives, you're fooling yourselves. The easiest and noblest way to live is to stop trying to destroy others and start improving yourselves. You know, before I go, I ask one thing. When my sons are grown, punish them. Reprove them as I have reproved you. If they begin to focus on the improvement of their wealth and not their souls, the hour of departure is here. We go our ways, I to die and you to live. Which is better? God knows.